Hello, Maeya TV. Welcome back. I'm here with Megan Barker.
Hi.
It's so great to have you here.
It's so great to be here. I'm excited.
So, tell us about yourself.
Oh, a little bit about me. I was saying it's such a broad question when somebody asks, like, oh, where do you start? So I guess I will start with where I grew up. I grew up in Arkansas and moved out to LA to pursue acting. I was telling her I didn't mean to pursue acting. It wasn't something that I grew up wanting to do. I wasn't like a young girl. I was like, I'm going to be a star. I fell into it on accident, sort of accidentally ended up taking a drama class in high school, and I fell in love, and but I didn't actually start pursuing it professionally until I graduated college and moved out to LA. So it's been my journey ever since then, and it's had its highs, it's had its lows, but it's been overall really great time.
So you came to LA not really knowing anyone.
No.
To start this acting career. So what was it like when you first came here?
Oh, when I first came here, it was really overwhelming. I came from a state that had 4 million people in the entire state, and I moved to a town that had 14.5 million people in the greater Los Angeles area, which made traffic make way more sense when I finally figured out those numbers. I was like, oh, that's why I'm always sitting on the 405. So that was a little bit jarring, and it was a little bit lonely when I first moved out, but I was very fortunate to meet other actors who had just moved out similar to me, and were also trying to make it and also trying to make friends. And as a matter of fact, some of the very first people I met when I moved out here are still some of my really, really good friends. So, yeah.
What kind of work were you able to get when you first came here?
When I first came here, because I had really only just done high school theater and then theater in college, I didn't really have any professional work I didn't have anything on camera. And I moved to a town that operates primarily on being on camera. So my first couple months, or even my first year, was just, will literally anyone hire me? Who wants to point a camera at my face? And so I started off doing student films, and then I started doing slightly better student films, and then I started getting short films, and then I started getting short films with really good budgets, and eventually worked my way up to doing feature films. And I've been very, very fortunate to do a handful of feature films, and some indie, some that have ended up on Amazon Prime, and some that have ended up on like Lifetime Network and Lifetime Movie Network. Done a little bit of TV. I did a couple of things on Investigation Discovery, which, believe it or not, one of those projects I did on Investigation Discovery something like 6 years ago. Somebody just saw it last week and called me, or they emailed me rather. They found my website, emailed me, and they're like, I really want you to be in my feature. And I read it, and the feature's actually super good. But I mean, just goes to show you, there's no small projects, because you never know who's going to see it and where you're going to end up and who's going to call you.
What are the films that you've been in so far?
I've been in several features. Just off the top of my head, I think some of the ones that I really, really enjoyed being in, there was a rom-com that I did most recently called Love at the Lodge that was actually shot by my fiance, who's the cinematographer, and a really good friend of ours was the director. Prior to that, I did a movie called A Slice of Chicago Romance, which I actually shot in Atlanta, and it was all about pizza, so I got to eat pizza for like 2 weeks, and I was living my best life. My first big feature that I had done was called Picture Perfect Lies, and that can be seen on Lifetime, and that was my first time as a lead, in a feature. I had been leads in short films or in smaller projects, but finally getting to, flex my skills as an actor in a feature length and having to carry that all the way through I think that spot will always, that film will always have a soft spot in my heart because of that. So, yeah.
What was it like to work in this Lifetime film?
The Lifetime films, like the Hallmark Lifetime ones, I think are really dependent on the crew that you get, because some of the crew, they just want to come in and they want to do a good job and they want to make good work, and they really want to make it be a fun time, because a lot of these crews, they work together pretty consistently. And so those crews that have that sort of, I guess, that chemistry, those are really fun ones to work with. But they can be hard because Lifetime movies are typically like 12 to 14 day shoot times, and so you're shooting feature length movies in 12 to 14 days. And so you have to be on it, you have to know your lines, you have to know where you're supposed to be going. You can't, talk to the director and be like, well, I don't know about this. Like, you have to have your decisions made and you have to be ready to go. And you've got to be on it and you've got to be prepared, because otherwise the sets can get really frustrating. Like the sets that I've been on for the Lifetime movies that get frustrating is because people aren't prepared and they can't keep up with the pace of the movie. But overall, I get to be on set. I have a great time.
So I think a lot of people look down on TV movies,
Mm-hmm.
but it's clearly very challenging to work on them.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of people think that Lifetime movies are like, oh, it's a Lifetime movie, whatever, I'm better than that. And let me tell you, the writing is not going to win any Academy Awards tomorrow, but it's actually an incredibly challenging role for an actor, because you have to make it authentic and real, and you have to make it flow even when the situations are really silly. Like my pizza movie, A Slice of Chicago Romance, it's like the Romeo and Juliet of pizza is what I call it. Like, they're a rival pizza company, but they have a good crust and we have a good sauce, and we have to come together and we have to make the perfect pizza. And it's hard to do that with a straight face, so you really have to go in and believe in what's happening. But if you can do that, you can make some movie magic.
And then on this film, it's all about pizza. So you're eating pizza all the time. They don't like give you like a fake pizza. Like,
no,
it was real pizza every time.
It was real pizza every time.
What was the best pizza?
I don't know. It was all pizza to me. I like pizza.
You like all the pizza?
I just like all pizza.
So then, you've also produced your own film.
I produced my own short film. For many actors, the last couple of years have been kind of slow between the strikes and everything. And I kind of got a little antsy, and I said, you know what, I'm going to make something. So I wrote something, and then I decided to produce it, and then I decided to direct it, and then I was in it, and I will never do that again. Do not recommend. But I'm so glad I did it, because I learned so much. I think a really common insecurity of an actor is to, like, you'll be on set, especially like on those Lifetime movies, everybody's moving so fast. You'll be on set and they're like, all right, got that take, moving on. And you're like, okay, but did you like it? Did I do a good job? Were you happy? Like, should I do it again? And there's like a lot of self-consciousness. And once I got to be in the role of being a director and, having to worry about all the behind the scenes stuff, I realized that when I told my actors I was ready to move on, it's because I got it and I trusted them, and I knew that what they gave me was what I needed. And so now when I'm on set and a director is like, okay, moving on, I'm like, great, they got it. And I feel comfortable, because I know that they wouldn't have moved on if they didn't have something that made them happy.
So what was challenging about doing so many roles on this project?
Well, one, you're in it. So for the takes where, like, they're shooting me and I'm being the actor in it, I'm sitting here trying to perform and think about my lines and things like that, but then in the background I'm like, oh man, is audio picking up that, like, kid that's laughing in the corner? Like, I scouted this park 3 different times, dead quiet every single time. The day we show up to shoot, there's like 7 birthday parties, there's like a break dancing competition. It's like every kid had to have given at least 3 cappuccinos before they could, like, play on the playground. It was insane. And so I'm thinking about that, so I don't even know what my performance was like. And then there was another thing where a glass had broken and my actor was like on the carpet, and I'm like worried that they're gonna step on some glass. And anyway, it was just, there's too many things going on in my brain.
Would you want to keep directing?
I would totally keep directing, because I think as an actor, being able to speak to another actor about why a character would do something and what motivates them and what would bring them to that point is still just like a really fulfilling conversation to have. And acting is my first love and will always be my first love, but at at the end of the day, if I'm able to work with another person and create something and make something and be around other creators and other makers and other doers, then I mean, I'm happy doing that.
Now, you said directing taught you a lot about acting.
Mm-hmm.
Did your acting experience help you as a director?
Yes, it definitely helped me because I can speak the language that an actor would. Because sometimes people will be like, all right, do it again. Okay, how? Like, in what direction? With what intention? And I was able to be more specific with the intentions I wanted my actors to have, and I was able to go in more specifically with what I wanted from them, but I was also in a position where I knew that the actors I hired, I trusted them to do the work. And I think that I've always kind of heard that directing, the biggest part of directing is hiring good people, because if you've made that correct decision on the front end, the rest of your job is really easy. And so it just kind of helped me understand that having the right people in the right spot is really critical.
What kind of films do you want to make in the future?
I've got a couple of little things that I'm working on right now that I've written. I think this is something that interests me as an actor as well, are just those little moments in life that people take for granted. The things I've written aren't big, grand, sweeping stories. They're the little tiny moments that people look over. I'm writing what I want to be a series right now, probably just like an online series, not like a big TV series, but of people in their cars. Because think about how much of your life you spend in your car. Mm-hmm. Think about what happens to you in your car. Think about I've gotten some really devastating phone calls while sitting in my car. I've gotten some really great phone calls while sitting in my car. And I think about the tough conversations I've had with my partner while sitting in my car. And I think it's a fascinating space because you're stuck there. You can't get out when you're in a car. You can't escape the conversation. You can't escape the situation. You have to face it and you have to deal with it. And I think that it's just an interesting, I want to put the microscope on that.
Now, acting is a dream for a lot of people, but it's also a business.
Yes.
So, what have you learned about the business side of things?
I think that it takes a lot more money than people think it takes. Like, people know you move to LA and rent is expensive and everybody knows that's expensive. Mm-hmm. What they don't tell you is expensive. All the headshots, all the casting directories, all the casting workshops. They don't tell you what you have to spend to be able to go out and people do not know how expensive it is just to exist as an actor before you ever even booked a day of work in your life. And people, I think, that struggle in LA struggle because they don't come prepared financially to support themselves, not only living, but also in their career. So if you're thinking about moving to LA, have a very nice savings tucked aside, or have a very nice job where you can afford all of that.
So what do you wish you knew before you started this?
I don't know. I think it's hard to pin down what I wish I knew, because I feel like a lot of what I've learned was necessary for me to experience, and it's not something that I don't think I could have skipped it. But I think something I did know coming in that has remained true to this day is when you come in and you decide to do this, it's got to be because this is what you want to do. Like, people say it all the time. If you want to do anything else other than acting, go do that. And it's such a true statement. I say all the time, I wish I wanted to do something like be a brain surgeon and make money. But no, I want to be an actor. And it's the only thing that I'm ever really going to want to do or have always wanted to do. And you've got to have that decision made.
Well, Megan, where can our viewers see your work?
I've got a couple movies. I think there's one on Amazon Prime called Angel Mountain. Lifetime's got some movies like Picture Perfect Lies. I think Lifetime Movie Network, you can also see it there. I think the Dove channel was just recently doing Love at the Lodge. Investigation Discovery, that channel is apparently still airing some Investigation Discovery shows I've done, because like I said, somebody just saw it last week and then reached out to me for a movie. So Investigation Discovery, you can see me cycling through, and then I think there's still some things floating around on YouTube, which you can find typically through my website, which is meganelizabethbarker.com.
Well, thank you so much, Megan, for coming here and talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
And viewers, thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure to be here at Maeya TV this season. We have one more episode, so keep an eye out. And we'll see you next time. I'm Jessica Haro. Goodbye.
Bye.